screen.
Yes, yes, yes. So I try to be brief because the topic is quite large, but I would like to thank you for allowing me to present to you Athens. For a better understanding of my presentation, I will briefly provide you with basic information about the development of Athens. Athens is an ancient city, of course, but its modern history began on a spring day in 1833, at the end of the War for Independence, when the Acropolis was taken over by the Greeks. Athens at the time had 10,000 residents, and it was a semi-desert city from the ravage during the War for Independence. The urban plan of Athens, immediately following the establishment of the new Hellenic state, was a complex endeavor. It had to satisfy the requirements of a modern capital, as well as highlight the particular importance and the global allure of the Athenian cultural heritage. Cleanthes and Schaubert called from the young King Otto to design the first plan of the city, introduced an inspired creation with a neoclassical tracing, whose points were the Acropolis, you can see here the Acropolis, the Keramikos Cemetery, the ancient cemetery of Keramikos, and the stadium. Despite the modification it underwent due to the property interests, this plan still characterizes till today the center of Athens. The new city developed very quickly, and it soon expanded beyond the boundaries of its initial design. The 19th and the early 20th century saw the construction of noteworthy public buildings and residences, listed among the most representative cases of Hellenic neoclassicism. Also,
Sophia, Sophia, are you moving the slides?
Yeah. You can see my slide or not?
Yeah, but you're not moving the slides, so we're still only on the...
I have changed the slides.
Yeah.
We're still seeing the title page, I think is what Mike means.
Yeah.
Have you seen the initial plan?
No, that's what I'm saying.
No?
We're stuck on the title page.
What can I do?
Maybe you can just reshare.
Reshare. Okay. Or I can use a PDF format.
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, hold on a minute.
No, just a second. I'm preferring to. Just a second. I'm going to the PDF. Because otherwise it will be very difficult.
I can do the PDF.
Okay, but I will tell you each time to change that. Go ahead. Okay.
But you have to tell me.
No, I will tell you each time. If you like, we can see again the neoclassical plan of Athens. It is the fourth slide. Okay, this is the neoclassical. The next, as I told you, the new city developed quickly and it soon expanded beyond the boundaries of its initial design. And you can see the 19th and early 20th centuries saw the construction of noteworthy public buildings and residences, listed among the most representative cases of Hellenic neoclassicism. a dynamic handicraft and commercial center, as you can see in the bottom of the slide, was also established, which continues to survive to this day. And we will talk about later with this presentation. Next, please. The inflow of, next, please. Okay. The inflow of refugees after the destruction in Asia Minor in 1922 and the agricultural crisis of 50s brought on the intensive urbanization of the capital. The result was the creation of the urban continuum, the dense Athens agglomeration that constitutes today's metropolitan area. Next, please. Next, please. While development risks remained low, Athens did not face acute problems. However, after the 50s, Athens became a dynamic and dominant urban center, concentrating 1/3 of the country's population. At the same time, the overexploitation of the urban land and the reconstruction altered the form of the urban fabric through the height and density of the buildings as well as their uses. This situation inevitably puts serious pressure on the quality of life of residents, on urban heritage, and caused serious problems such as conflicts of use and traffic difficulties. You can see Acropole behind the buildings. For all these reasons, the adoption of a general plan became imperative. The Athens Master Plan, alongside the creation of the Organization for the Master Plan of Athens, were established in 1985. They provided for the first time a general framework for Athens' future development. The master plan was a strategic, visionary plan for the development of Athens with the title Athens, Once Again Athens. It had an indicative character and interfered in three keys: environmental protection, spatial planning, urban planning. It acknowledges the historicity of the city and recognizes and delimits legislatively the Athens historic center. It proposes specific objectives as the redistribution of functions, polycentric structure, decentralization of services, limitation of central functions, decongestion of central areas. Many of the provisions of the master plan were implemented at a later stage. The master plan of Athens has to be modified in 1999 to host the projects for the Olympic Games of 2004. The main idea was to connect the Olympic facilities with a circulation ring. You can see it, the ring. The 2004 Olympic Games demanded modification to the existing master plan under exceptional procedure, thereby introducing a new perception of spatial regulation that disregarded Athens' new spatial and social conditions. Public spaces and downtown neighborhoods are slowly but surely undergoing important social and financial changes. Large-scale interventions under exceptional procedure were carried out in the Athens center as metro, the Grand Promenade in the center of Athens, the unification of archaeological sites, and many others. Next, please. Next, please. At the regulatory planning level, general plan, the previous, thank you. The general plan of the municipality of Athens specified a series of guidelines. The center of Athens encompassed a wide range of functions and essentially corresponded to its multifunctional character. Special objectives were the organization in spatial subdivisions, preserving the historic center that you can see in the bottom of the slide, because in the up part of the slide is the municipality of Athens, the center of the agglomeration of Athens. And we have a wide range of functions and essentially corresponded to its multifunctional character: organization in spatial subdivisions, preserving the historic center, reconstruction of the urban fabric, the distribution of key issues and functions, improvement and organization of single combined transport system, and programming large-scale qualitative interventions. Next. Next, thank you. The master plan remained formally in force till 2014. And when the new Athens Attica 2029 plan was was adopted. The financial crisis marked the retreat of the state from the strategic planning, while new institutional reforms abolished the organization of Master Plan of Athens and the rise of ad hoc interventions and the stronger role of private investments. The plan of 2014 omitted at the level of wording the stimulation of centrality, radically halting urban sprawl, functional densification, the multi-phased character of the center, revitalizing production, preventing private car use, and so on. But it added a series of parameters that were contrary to the centrality of the center. And urban development projects are now carried out with special urban plans independent on the initial master plan. Here, we should note that the devaluation of the strategic character of the master plan and its replacement in practice by major intervention was the reason that we began to investigate alternative solutions and practices for the generation of the Athens city center. I mean my university and my laboratory. So during for many years, for last decades, we have studied the Athens center, and we have noted that during the pre-crisis period, as you can see here, despite negative external factors such as the industrialization, imports, and spatial policies that drove manufacturing and commerce away from the Athenian center, certain uses and features were retained, such as public services and central administration, also important commercial activities, but particularly the strong networks of artisans and also certain concentration of activities located in city center. During the crisis, we have the decline of the city center, as you can see in the plan: falling population, social vulnerability, xenophobia, derelict housing stock. Crisis outburst resulted in a violent breakdown of commerce depicted in padlocks of stores which remained empty. After 2015, when the crisis had been consolidated, new equilibria were established. Previously closed and empty stores are being reposed for new uses related to entertainment and recreation. A lot of bars, restaurants, theaters, complexes were opened in the Athens center, attracting mostly young people. A new factor in the tourism of Athens is the rise of short-stay rentals, as you can see in this slide. The historical center is affected particularly as it has a high amount of empty building stock. As we can see, there are almost 1,000 active rentals in the area, and the number has risen rapidly during the last years, and making it difficult for small medium enterprises of the center to operate by changing uses for tourism. Next, please. What we are seeing today is a gradual increase in tourist interest in brands as ancient, alternative, underground culture, hips, style, artistic creation, and so on. All this atmosphere attracted many young people in the center of Athens and many tourism. However, Athens preserved a long tradition in the so-called creative profession, as you can see in the plan with a localization of this kind of small, medium enterprises. We have craft networks and other sectors such as goldsmith, clothing, and leatherworking, which have shown remarkable resilience to the crisis and its effects. As we have mentioned already, knowing these facts about the character of the center of Athens and taking into account the inability of spatial planning to take action to revive the Athenian center, in National Technical University, we search for proposals that would be able to achieve the goals of the city's development plan. Over the last few decades, and especially during the crisis, we at the Laboratory of Spatial Planning and Urban Development have studied the Athenian Historic Center as other cities and observed the dynamism and resilience of small and medium-sized creative enterprises, particularly during the crisis. So we decided to collaborate with them as well as the local association and organizations that represent them, choosing a bottom-up approach and avoiding the top-down approach imposed by the crisis and especially by the current spatial choices and plans. Next, please. Active and resilient networks of small scale artistic, craft-based and creative enterprises, which continue to operate within Athens and appear to function as potential drivers of urban revival. Following the findings of our research projects, we find that urban development, particularly in cities as Athens, with rich creative legacies, remains closely entangled with productive cultural activity. Several cultural creative industries related SMEs tend to cluster in urban areas where they can capitalize on spatial advantages, proximity, collaborators, access to skilled labor, and lower transportation costs for both inputs and finished goods. These enterprises often gravitate toward dense, mixed-use neighborhoods where traditional knowledge systems persist and logistical infrastructure are conducive to flexible forms of production. Within such urban fabrics, cooperation between cultural creative industries and other SMEs is not incidental. It is a key characteristic of what some have called a creative ecosystem. The previous, please, Mike. Okay, thank you. We have observed that these clusters of create what we call a living laboratory, they can evolve into resilient networks that produce not only economic benefits, but also social cohesion and distinctive urban landscape. Many of these businesses operate through informal structures or traditional cooperative models, relying on traditional methods and small-scale production systems. These embedded practices not only contribute to economic resilience, but also help maintain a sense of cultural continuity, a form of sustainability that is often overlooked. Next, please. Following our research that seeks a revitalization strategy for Mediterranean cities, and given that waste is a serious problem in historic cities, we explored how these networks could be mobilized in relation to material flows so that two discarded products of one activity can become the raw material for another. To this end, we attempted to mobilize productive creative networks by connecting them with contemporary and essential circular economic practices. Two key insights emerged. The understanding of the place, of how raw materials circulate, how technologies are assessed, and how socioeconomic fabrics evolve in each urban setting, and also urban and land use planning that must be rethought to align with the broader debates around circularity and the sustainable transformation of historic urban landscapes. Next, please. To test our proposals, we localized and collaborate with cultural creative industries and SMEs that apply circular practices. Some of them collaborating with our project host these smart bins, you can see the bin, where secondary materials generated by production are cold. The smart bins are digitally connected to the project's online platform, which gathers and openly distributes the collected information. A bicycle designed at National Technical University and built from recycled materials is notified through a mobile phone application to collect and redistribute these materials to professionals who can use them in their own production processes. Next, please. In this plan, you can see the small medium enterprises that you have localized as having a waste production. So we have the waste production network. You can see the materials: fabric, electronics, paper, metal parts, leather, plastic, and so on. Next, please. Next, please, Mike. Mike, the next, please. Thank you. Here we have the receivers of the waste. And the next, please. So we have the synthesis here. We have the networks. With the color, we have the nature of the cluster. For instance, this blue is the fabric, plastic is the amount. Yeah, and the red is the stars are the electrons and so on. So the traces marked the clusters, the producer of waste and the receiver. In this way, and we have, rather than presenting circularity as a technical fix of a checklist of interventions, the project suggests a more open-ended vision, one where cities evolve by networking their existing assets, enabling iterative adaptations and integrating both traditional and contemporary knowledge systems. In this sense, circular urban planning does not replace earlier models of growth. It challenges the very assumptions upon which they rest. So, following the literature review for sustainable urbanization, as you can see in this slide, towards a contemporary circular urban planning, we arrived at a series of proposals and suggestions. Next, please. So, green architecture, emphasis on environmentally responsive design, smart systems, application of digital infrastructure information technologies to improve energy use, and recycling and upcycling, incorporation of reused furniture and equipment into buildings, encouraging local production and craftsmanship over mass products imports. Next, please. There is also a call for a fundamental rethinking of urban policy, a paradigm shift, one might say. Creative and cultural industries, in this view, are not decorative or peripheral. They are integral to shaping new economies and reimagining the future of historical cities, as we have seen in the case of center of Athens. As the measures for the experimental processes described so far, successful implementation of circular urban planning in general, and particularly within historical contexts, will require a turn analysis of the interplay between public policy and local specificities, mechanisms that foster community participation and social inclusion as foundational elements of urban transition, and governance structures capable of mediating between often competing priorities. Taken together, these efforts do not offer a finished blueprint. Rather, they suggest a provisional iterative process, one that values context over standardization, collaboration over hierarchy, and care over control. Circular urban planning, at least as it emerges through this project, is not simply a new planning doctrine. It is in many ways an invitation to rethink how cities adapt, endure, and imagine their futures. Next, please. Our proposals were understood and accepted by interested parties, our stakeholders, with whom National Technical University Athens concluded relevant memoranda of understanding, as Athens Chamber of Small Medium Industries, Athens Development and Tourism Promotion Company of Municipality of Athens, Athens Commercial Association, General Confederation of Professional Craftsmen and Merchants of Greece, Athens Silversmith Association. So, in conclusion, we ask, what is the next? What is the next? And what is the future of all this effort, of all this proposal? Thank you. Thank you very much. And sorry for the inconvenience of the projection. Excuse me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I think one of the most interesting things is that all cities go through sort of a decline and then revival. I think also of New York at particular times, and I think that we can all give various times in London. All cities then go through this part, and I think therefore they need to sort of like downplay and then grow again. And I think that this is the opportunities which take place in cities which have economic problems. In fact, is then debated on with the metropolitan scale. I think that the main thing which I learned from it is that cities are processes. They're living organisms. I don't know whether it is just exactly how then we, as somebody who believes in general systems theory, that in fact that these living organisms then live, they resurrect themselves, they can regenerate as well, they can be reincarnated. They have great opportunities of change. And I think that this is the most important thing, to understand this and see exactly how on the downhill that we can also take on board the uphill activities. I don't know whether anybody wants to then speak about a metropolis or city that has gone down and then come out from the part, and just to say one word or compare. No? Lee? Lee, your colleague.
Yes, my colleague is from Athens. That's why I bring here. And yes, do you have any comments? Just or any feedback?
No, just thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting.
Mm.
And I'm very happy to see that there are things happening in Athens because, yeah, exactly. It was the kind of big metropolis that fell on tough times but is now trying to make a comeback. So, yes, I'm just very happy to see such projects.
Yeah, and my comments would be you mentioned a lot about urban planning. So I think we really need to see the role of urban planning. So when we talk about planning, we often refer to new settlements, urban sprawl, and we what about the role of planners in terms of urban regeneration, in terms of heritage conservation? So this is not the mainstream of when we talk about the study and the working field of urban planning, but it's so important. It's so different when you plan new city and when you carefully renovate an historic area. So this raises a big issue of how we draw more attention to urban planning, circular urban planning. If it's the word you are using, then let's say urban planning targeting existing areas with heritage value rather than planning for growth. So that's my feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Anybody else would like to add something? Sophia, you want to react to that?
I would like to comment that actually in Greece this time we have a very big project for local urban plans. But we have the most important problem that was established during the crisis time is that the private investments have the priority. So they have the potential and the effort to change the local plans. As planners, we have made a lot of efforts, and as I was for the last 7 years president of Greek Planners, we have made many interventions for this topic in order to preserve the strategic character of the spatial planning and the importance of the local urban planning in Greece. And we still continue anyway. But I have presented you a research project that we have made in the National University of Athens, because we have thought if we can have some alternatives to this situation. And we have found out, as I have presented already, that there is a potential because of the resilience of this kind of small, medium, creative and enterprises in the center of Athens. That's it.